Hello, and thank you for joining me in today's language lesson for Sentence Analysis Case 4. In sentence analysis, we analyze our sentence, beginning with our hunt for the action. We now know that that action, our red circle, is also the verb in our grammar parts of speech. That verb gives energy to our sentence and life to the noun. So once we have found that action being performed, we can then think about who is it or what is it performing the action. Then once we know who performs that action, we have something that can receive that action. And today we have two things that are going to receive an action. Let's begin by analyzing a sentence for our third year friends as they continue to research Cnidarian. Our sentence says Cnidarian eat fish and small plants. Can someone find the action in that sentence? Eat is the action in our sentence. So we'll go ahead and write that word below our red circle. Second thing, who is it that eats? Cnidarian are the ones who eat in our sentence. And now that we know Cnidarian eat, we could ask Cnidarian eat what? In this case, we have two things. Could say Cnidarian eat fish and Cnidarian eat small plants. When we are analyzing our two things that are receiving the action, one will go at our top black circle, the other will go at the bottom black circle, including any part of the noun family. So an article or an adjective will stay with. So small stays with plants. And for now will float in the middle of the two. Let's do another one that the symbols have not been started for us. So here for our second year friends studying amphibians, we have the life cycle of a frog. And our sentence says tadpoles become froglets and adult frogs. So going on our hunt first, we want to find our action. So in our sentence, what is our action? Become is our action in this sentence. So we can place that underneath our verb. Who is it that will become something? Tadpoles. So just like our sun giving off its rays of energy, so does our verb give off rays to our noun and the other parts of our sentence. And so here, the arrow pointing towards that noun for our tadpoles. And now that we know tadpoles become what? They become froglets and then eventually adult frogs. So now that we have two things receiving, we can go ahead and make our arrows pointing away the other direction. We'll need now two of our black circles to represent the two things receiving that action. And at the top, we could do adult frogs. Our and can float in the middle. And then we could put froglets at the bottom. The reason I put them in a different order is because we can transpose either one of our things receiving the action. Tadpoles become froglets and adult frogs. Tadlets become adult frogs and froglets. It still holds the same meaning within our sentence, and we can put those in either order. Let's again remember too that when we analyze, to make sure we continue with the correct capitals that are in our sentence. So tadpole starts, so capital T, and the ending of my sentence was with adult frogs, so making sure I continue with my period because we are working with sentences. Our next, we have a picture but without a sentence. So even in your house, you can go ahead and think about a sentence that we might use for this picture. And for this, we'll go ahead with Martin Luther King Jr. inspired peace and change. So here in our sentence, we can go ahead and begin by going on our hunt of what is the action. And our action is inspired. Who is it that inspired? Martin Luther King Jr. And then Martin Luther King Jr. inspired what? And we do have two things that are receiving that action: peace and change. So we'll make sure that we have two arrows and two black circles going the other direction. So we have our peace and change. Have to correct a few things to make sure again that we have capitals and we have periods in the correct space, as we are working with a sentence. And then we've analyzed this sentence. We broke it up into its three parts. Our action being performed, inspired. Who is it that inspires? Martin Luther King Jr. And Martin Luther King Jr. inspires what? Peace and change. So for sentence analysis, case 4, you can go ahead and create your own sentence. Again, it does not need to be a very advanced sentence with a lot of parts. You can keep it as simple as just one person or one thing performing an action and then two things receiving that action. Here's my example of Harlow colored shapes and pictures. So I've analyzed my sentence and have drawn our red circle for my action colored. Who is it that colored? That arrow pointing to a black circle for Harlow. And then Harlow colored what? Shapes and pictures, including capitals and periods. So good luck on creating your sentence with two things receiving an action. If you would like, you can also draw and include a picture to go with this.